Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Destiny and I help remote workers like you build a successful career. So today we'll be talking about virtual assistants, who is a virtual assistant and how you can get into the virtual assistant industry. You've been thinking about working from home, setting your own hours, making money in dollars or other currencies as a person living in Nigeria. You must have come across the term virtual assistant and you might be wondering what a virtual assistant is or who a virtual assistant is and how you can get started as a virtual assistant. So today I'll be addressing those questions and sharing what I know about being a virtual assistant and how you can get started and possibly land some roles as a virtual assistant. A virtual assistant is someone who provides administrative support to individuals, teams, or entrepreneurs that are busy. As a virtual assistant, you get to work remotely, you get to work from home, and you get to provide a variety of services to your clients. So a virtual assistant can do a little bit of everything. You can find yourself doing various things that you never knew you'd have to do. But as a virtual assistant, one thing you should keep in mind is that you have to be open to learning new tools, to learning new skills, to acquiring all the information you need to support your clients or anything you find yourself. So let's talk about the kind of roles or the kind of things a virtual assistant does. So I'm going to be mentioning a few things, a few roles, about 10 of them that a virtual assistant does. The first is email management, which is just a basic management of inbox using different kinds of email software. As a virtual assistant, you also do customer support. As a virtual assistant, you might also find yourself on the technical side of things, like providing technical support to customers. As a virtual assistant, you can also do social media management, you can do lead generation, you can do e-commerce store management, you can do a little bit of project management sometimes, you can manage CRM systems, do data entry. There's a lot of things a virtual assistant can do. And in 2025, because of the whole change of AI, the virtual assistant should be able to also use AI tools to fast track their work and make them more efficient. About some of the essential skills a virtual assistant should have. So I feel like the most important skill a virtual assistant should have is communication. I mean, you'd have to talk to people every day. You might have to jump on video calls. You might have to, chat via live chat, email. So having a very good communication skill is the number one skill you should have. I mean, you also need very good communication skills to be able to land a job, to land an interview, to even write a very good proposal. So your communication skill is one of the most important things. Written, verbal communication, even your body language. Because you'll be working with teams from different parts of the world, you'll be working with people that cannot see you, you're not in office. So being able to communicate is very important to keep things running smooth. So another skill a virtual assistant should have is time management. Yes, you should be able to manage your time efficiently as a virtual assistant because you're helping your clients to save time. So you should be able to use the time judiciously to complete the tasks that you are assigned. So time management is also very, very important because you'll be assigned maybe a handful of tasks. Being able to handle them and deliver them on time is very, very important. Another skill a virtual assistant should have is attention to detail. I mean, sometimes you might be assigned tasks that you don't know too much about, but being able to complete those tasks and avoiding as much errors as possible is very important, and it's very important to your clients as well, because you don't want your clients going back to check your work over and over. I mean, how is that saving their time if they have to go back to check your work over and over and over again? So being able to pay attention to detail, is very important skill for a virtual assistant. So another skill you should have is problem solving. So you might face different problems every day as a virtual assistant. So being able to think on your feet, find solutions online, go on YouTube, go on Google, use ChatGPT to find solutions to problems is very, very important. You shouldn't be asking your clients like questions like every time about basic things. Yes, you can ask questions. It's very important to ask questions to clarify and be sure of what you're going to be doing. But it's also very important to be able to find these solutions, find them on your own, research, and find solutions to problems as a virtual assistant, because your clients wouldn't just assign you a task and then you're asking the clients, please, what am I going to do? Okay, so you should be able to find the solution to the problems, or as it comes. I mean, another thing is being able to adapt. Yes, like I said, as a virtual assistant, you might find yourself in various kinds of organizations that you never knew their processes from the beginning. I mean, even companies that are similar, that do the same thing, have different internal processes. So being able to adapt to each company's processes, being able to adapt to each company's procedures is very, very important. I mean, I cannot overemphasize on that, because if you're not able to adapt, then you cannot succeed in your role. So that's it. Being able to adapt to their different software systems, being able to understand their values, being able to understand how they communicate, and their brand tone, voice. I mean, those are very important. So you should know how to do that as a virtual assistant. So as a virtual assistant, I already said something similar. You need to be proactive, you need to be reliable, you need to be available when you said you'd be available. I mean, you don't want a client to be trying to reach out to you and you're not responsive. Those things are very important, because as a virtual assistant, at some point, or in some businesses, they might rely on you for so many things. So you need to be available, you need to be reliable, you need to be able to respond during work hours. So yeah, I mean, you're working remotely, they can't see you, they can't so you need to be reachable. I mean, via any channel they use. So another thing is that you need to have emotional intelligence. You need to be able to study the room, to understand what's going on and what needs to be done. And lastly, you need to be able to protect your client's information. You will be given access to various kinds of information in different kind of businesses. So you need to be able to protect your information. Keep your laptops or whatever devices you use away from people. Protect your system, install antivirus and everything you need to do to make sure your client's information does not go out there. So those are the skills it's the soft skills. I mean, so some other skills, which are the technical skills a virtual assistant needs, are software skills like CRM, data management systems, Canva for designs. I mean, there are a lot of systems out there. Like I mentioned them, I'll be dropping them down in the caption. But there are a lot of systems out there that you should know how to use. The basic system like Google Workspace, Microsoft Office, you should be able to use them. You should understand the time zone, because you might be working with clients in Australia, in America, and your time is different from theirs. The first thing you should be able to do is understand their time zone, so that you would not miss work and give the excuse that you didn't know it was time. So those are a few things a virtual assistant should be able to do. Before you decide to get into virtual assistance, you need some basic things. You need a computer, you need a headset with a microphone or a noise cancelling headset. You also need good internet and power supply. I mean, we live in Africa, and Nigeria, there are some areas where they really don't get a lot of electricity. So you need to have power, you need to have backup, and you need to have good internet. This is very important because starting out, you don't want a situation where you land an interview and then your internet goes off or your power goes off, or maybe your clients can't hear you clearly or see you clearly. So you need to make sure you get your devices, and even if you have to borrow, borrow and get the interview done, and then maybe you can, when you get the job, you can get your devices. But these things are very, very important. I'll be talking about how to comport yourself in an interview in another video, and I'll be mentioning some of these things I just talked about. Before you get started, you need to have a resume, you need to have your portfolio set up. So yes, some freelance websites, some freelance sites do not really need a resume, but some clients also request a resume. A portfolio is, I think a portfolio is the most important thing you need in 2025. People can just write a lot of things and claim to have worked in different places in their resume, but a portfolio shows clients what you have done in the past, giving them an idea of what you'd be able to do for them. So building out a portfolio is very important. Now you might say, okay, I'm a beginner, how do I get a portfolio? I do not really have any work experiences. One thing you should know is that we all have experiences in life. You've stayed on earth for maybe 20 years or less, but you have interacted with people. Something like customer support, you should have talked to people, maybe sold something or something. So you have experience, but you don't have corporate experience. So yes, one way you can build your portfolio is doing mock projects. There are lots of ways to do that, and I'll be talking about how to build a portfolio in another video, so stay tuned. So having a good portfolio is very important because it saves you a lot of explanation. It saves you a lot of, I can do this, I can do this. You can just show the portfolio and the client will be like, okay, I see you've done this. So that's very important. I'll just run through a few things you should have in your portfolio to make it professional. The first thing you should have is a clear headshot. A professional photograph should be in your portfolio. Do not use a selfie or a photograph of you in a dark place or in an awkward position. These clients, we all love beautiful things, we all love cute things. So make sure your picture is clear. A clear picture of you. You can just walk into a studio and take a picture and use for a portfolio. Take a few pictures and use them for a portfolio if you don't have one. But that's very important. You should also have a list of skills. You should have the tools you have used. You should have snippets of the different tasks you've carried out or mock projects. You should also have some testimonials from people you've worked with, people you've interacted with, or your previous clients. You should have those in your portfolio as well. So that I'll be going through the portfolio thing in another video. So this is just something to keep in mind when starting out as a virtual assistant. It's going to save you a lot of applications. It's going to save you a lot of headache and rejections. So just get your portfolio done, okay? So let's talk about the proposals. Your proposal is a short, let's say it's a cover letter that you send to your clients to apply to their job. So On different platforms, it's done in different ways. For Upwork, it's your cover letter, and your proposal also includes your rates, and you should also include, your portfolio in your proposal. So what should be in your proposals, and how do you start writing a proposal? You should, first of all, before you start writing a proposal, you should understand the job post. Read the job description very, very well. Make sure you understand, and make sure your skills match the job post, the skills required in the job post. So do not, as a virtual assistant, just because you need a job, you jump and apply to any role you see, even the roles that you know you'll not be able to handle. I'm not against, trying to, saying that you can do something when you have not really done it before. I know, yes, I've also found myself in that situation where I felt it's something I could do, but I've not done it before. You can say, oh, I can do this, or I've done something similar, okay? But do not apply for a role that you will not be able to handle. That's just what I'm talking about. So in your proposal, make sure you read the job description, make sure you understand it. If possible, if you find the client's information, maybe their company, go through their website, research them, find their social media handles, try to understand their company, try to understand them a little bit before you send your proposal. That will help you write a very, very tailored proposal that will not look generic to your clients, to the client. So here, make sure you understand the job description and research the company. Try to find who your client is, and to save you, it will help you to write a better proposal. Always start your proposal in a very professional way. If you find the name of the client, mention the name of the client. Hi, mention the client's name. End in a professional way. Include your portfolio in your proposal. Even if the client does not request for it, always include your portfolio in your proposal. So one tip to help you find your first remote job as a virtual assistant is to apply for beginner-friendly roles. Do not apply for a job that is tagged expert when you don't have experience, or you don't have the portfolio, or you don't have the job history to show that you're actually an expert. So I would advise you go for small entry-level roles that when the clients are really not looking for someone that has a lot of experience, and they'll give you the job. As a virtual assistant, these clients are not looking for someone that's very, very skilled, or let me put it like that, just very, very skilled. They need someone that can get their job done well and on time. So most of the time, they assign tasks that the clients can handle themselves, but the reason why they assign you those tasks is because they want to save their time. So you should keep in mind that these clients are not really looking for people that have a lot of experience, because let's say you, as a virtual assistant, you do customer support, you do social media, you manage their website, you post content, you write blogs, you do a whole lot of different things. These clients are not expecting you that you should be a super expert at all these things. They just want you to be able to get these things done in well, but not to the level as someone that does, for example, social media, someone that runs a social media agency that does ads or marketing. That's their niche. But as a virtual assistant, you should know a little bit of everything. You should be open to learning things every day. You should be open to acquiring new skills every day, because before you land your role as a virtual assistant, you should have learned a lot on your own. Because yes, even if these clients are looking to employ someone that's relatively good, they are not looking to train you on every tiny bit of thing. They are not looking to train you to use Google Docs, they use Canva, they use the basic Zoom or Slack, Skype. that they use for communication. They don't want to train you on those basic things. They want to train you on the internal processes of the business. So, as a virtual assistant, before you land your role, you should be able to do your own research, find tools, find the things that are trending in the industry, find the latest tools that clients are using, that businesses are using, be able to understand their interface, learn them on your own before you land your role. Because yes, some clients are going to ask you in the interview, have you used this, have you used this? You should be able to comfortably say, I've used this. I mean, even if you have not used the exact tool, maybe you've used something or seen something, at least know what the tool is used for. Just know what it's used for. Okay? So those are the things you should know as a virtual assistant. So let's talk about where you can find jobs as a virtual assistant. You can use freelance websites like Upwork, Fiverr, freelancer.com. You can also use LinkedIn. So all these platforms, they have their different perks, they have their advantages, they have their disadvantages. So I'm going to be talking about the various freelance platforms I know of, I've tried, and which one I think will be, I think is best for me, and maybe might be best for you as well. So I'll be putting that in another video. I'll go into details on the various freelance websites out there. You can also do cold outreach to companies, to businesses, to individuals. One other way of getting your first role as a virtual assistant is offering free services or internships. Looking for internship slots, and where you can actually practice your skills and get recommendations. So I'm going to be dropping a video on how to really get your first role on Upwork and how to get verified on Upwork, and I hope you'll be able to learn a few things from there. So I think I've covered the basic things. There are various courses out there if you want to get started as a virtual assistant that are very comprehensive. I know of ALX, I know of a few of them that are doing really well. So you can enroll in these virtual assistant courses, just so you get a very good idea of what to do as a virtual assistant, of you even get on hands-on knowledge, you practice what a virtual assistant does, and you'll be able to be confident when applying for jobs and when going for interviews. So I hope with this extension you understand what a virtual assistant is at this point, who a virtual assistant is, and who they serve. So if you're ready to start your virtual assistant journey, like, subscribe. I'll be dropping as many things as possible. I'll be dropping videos on my experience. I'll be dropping videos on ways I found clients, and I'll be dropping tips on how to manage your work as a virtual assistant, how to manage your clients, and how to stay productive. So if you like this video and you found it helpful, kindly like, subscribe, and share this video. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye.